Yeah, here we go. Almost there. Almost
Rock
there,
on.
people. I know it. I know it because I'm kind of looking for that music, that music to start us
Let's
off. There
review
you
the
go.
week. The Riz Report with Adam Rizzieri.
Where to go? Come on.
I don't know. I'm like, am I supposed to be
It's
doing
going to be one of those
it?
days. You know what happened? You know what
What?
happened, don't you? Big Voice Guy was canceled. That's what
Big voice guy was canceled. You know what? We have to get him a shirt now.
I
Well,
know, right? I
he
think,
looks like an
yeah.
XL to me. Like he looks like a big dude, big voice, probably an XL.
All
We
right,
got you,
so
bro.
welcome to My Michelle Live. This is what we call the Riz Report, where we look through the week and get some of the big news stories and talk about some of the things that you probably aren't hearing in the news. So, and there's a lot going on too, even on a personal level. We're going to get to Adam's been canceled. I had been canceled. I'm out of YouTube jail, which is great. And so we're really seriously thinking we're going to get canceled shirts. You know, if you've earned that honor of utilizing your free speech and you've been canceled, I think you need a shirt.
Just
I'm kind of
another
looking,
silenced
look at
voice in
this. I'm
TV.
kind of looking Donald Trumpy, aren't I? I mean, all the sun that I've been getting
Little
down here in
little bit of a
Florida.
sun kiss there. Looks good. You wear it well.
I don't know. I don't know if it's like the filter or if it's like I've really gotten a lot of sun, but I'm feeling like,
Michelle 2024 question
yeah,
mark?
there you go, right?
maybe like a Michelle Mendoza DeSantis ticket. I don't know. I'd vote for him.
Oh man.
Hey, you know what? DeSantis would make a great VP for you, Michelle.
I'll keep him in mind. I was thinking you would be great too, but I don't want to outstep ourselves. Yeah, there's been a lot going on this week, but what something I found really interesting this week, bringing it home to My Michelle Live, I did an interview with country music legend Corey freaking Morrow. I think that's actually his middle name.
I think you're right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
and
Freaky is in
and
there.
you have a connection with
I
Corey.
do. Yeah. So
Six
this is kind of
degrees of Corey Morrow.
when I saw that Corey was on. Just like, are you kidding me? He pops up everywhere in my life, and just as close to my uncle Jake and Aunt Courtney. So Jake West, I talked about Jake. I guess this was probably last month or so. I mentioned Jake's my uncle who spends a lot of time on the border. He lives up here in North Texas
Yeah.
with me, and Jake's a guy who grew up in the Houston area and ended up going to Texas Tech for school. And long story short, he and Corey were buddies back in the day, and my grandpa Jim, even kind of helped him out through some of those college age ish related shenanigans, things
Oh
that
yeah,
boys
we
do,
can
right?
hear that in his
Like
music. You can,
no trouble at all.
there's nothing like writing songs about where you're at in life because people can kind of follow you. Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Well,
right.
so I remember being a kid, and Michael Jake was a little bit older than me, but not too much, just because he was like the son who was had later in life by my grandpa, and I've always kind of described my grandpa as one of the smartest guys I ever knew, but all self-taught. He was teaching college courses without a college degree,
Wow.
kind of one of those sort of
Wow.
like wise dudes. And I had that little note too about him being kicked out of the army because he joined while he was underage, and then he ultimately joined the Air Force when he was of age. Just read every book that was ever in front of him, and I'm kind of getting off topic there, but Corey and my uncle Jake, they had a great relationship that goes way back to those days. And before the pandemic, Corey was in town, and my brother Sean got to hang out on his tour bus for a little bit. Unfortunately, I couldn't get out of the office, but Corey's message, his story, his music. I remember being a kid playing Frank Thomas Big Hurt baseball on Sega Genesis, and Jake was walking around with Corey's like first like demo out, his first demo CD. And there was a CD at the time, and just it was just the coolest thing. I was like, "Oh, it's cool, you're friends with Corey," and I held on to that CD for many years, and just kind of watching how his career has progressed over time has been really really interesting, and seeing kind of the dynamic between him and of course Pat Green. He's another guy who's kind of from that same
Oh,
that group of
come
people.
on. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're just very talented. But you know, Pat was always kind of like the really good like songwriter and performer. But Corey also, man, like he was sort of, I think, kind of understated for a long time. But his story is really interesting, and I was just so tickled to see that he was on your More Than Music show a few days
Well, I
ago.
really wanted to bring some of that music and this is why it's important to, as we review the week, to bring the music of America, the heart music back. Um, a lot of what's happened in our country, you've been brainwashed to think that this is the music you will hear. It's going to be in supermarkets, in television shows, in movies. It's going to be,
Right.
blasted at you. Statistics have shown those top 10 songs are played like
Over
70%
it,
more
over it, over it.
than they were, just to get you addicted to this.
Right.
And the message that they have has consistently been darker. It's been without hope. It's been useless. And yet there is a voice in America, people, just like what we're doing here on the My Michelle Live podcast. There's a voice in America. It's a voice of hope. It's a voice of what we're really experiencing and going through. When I interviewed Corey Morrow, and go back and listen to the interview, Corey and his music, he's as versed as singing about drinking beer as he is about the Bible. That's
Very much
America
so.
right there. It's just average everyday people, and the voice that is not being heard. And maybe because we're being canceled, and since we mentioned Corey, let's just
What?
play a moment of
Awesome.
a Corey Morrow song.
Love it.
This is live at the Texas Music Theater. You're going to hear just a little bit of Corey Morrow. I might even show his video. I don't know. Come on,
Man,
Corey.
I remember. So I remember this old like 1998 Texas Sound like
Yeah.
throwback over there. But you're kind of onto something there, Michelle. Like his music is a collection of experiences and wisdom. Is that the music I hear playing there?
That's the music you hear. I'm even going to share screen here in just a second.
You're my favorite kind of lonesome.
Yeah, it's a great song. I'm telling you.
Nights get long. You're the kiss I wanna steal, the love I wanna feel. Y'all ain't what I wanna cry.
This is Corey Morrow. Corey freaking Morrow. Favorite
Corey
country
freaking
wrestler.
Morrow. There are not many people that went to a college in Texas, Oklahoma, between the early 2000s and through present, really, that really haven't seen a Corey Morrow or a Pat Green performance in person. I remember, man, this one performance. This was a throwback to Waco, Texas, Margaritaville concert. Man, you just can't lose. I mean, it's a great time. You feel so many different kind of like experiences through his music, love and loss and wisdom, and then also just like the mistakes we make as people. It's really
What's
cool.
happened when what we've seen in our cancel culture, or in our you will think this way culture, we see in the music culture. This is what you will listen to. This is what you will hear, and it is there to and influences an entire generation who has not had the opportunity to have a voice for themselves. In country music in particular, especially when you're looking at the Corey Morrow kind of genre, you're looking at people who they're writing their own stuff. In
Right.
the music industry, there are two main people basically who write all these massive hit songs. It's not everybody's voice. This is a voice of an area, a people, a region, a country that we're just not hearing in our cancel culture.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's not cookie cutter. It is original. It is authentic. It's real, and it's not trying to push some trendy or ridiculous agenda. It's just trying to sing about life and about life's experiences. And then also, when you look at everything just as a collection, gives you a lot of hope too. It's like, oh man, I'm feeling lost right now, but you know what? Things are going to get better. Or I'm feeling this or that, and it's okay to feel that because someone else has felt it and gotten past it. It's just great stuff.
It's great stuff. But what happens? We get canceled. And that's something I wanted to talk about. Congratulations, you have joined the cancel club.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner, Johnny. Yeah, sure enough. I have joined the cancel crew. And I'm telling you, I'm going to get a shirt being canceled for being a truth speaker, a speaker of truth. So my company, we have a YouTube page, or had a YouTube
Tell
page.
people what your company is.
Yeah, we're a really, really scandalous company. We're doing some crazy stuff. We're
Cover the
educating
kids'
people.
ears.
I know, earmuffs real fast. We're educating people on digital marketing concepts. We're educating people on how to make your website better to do more things for your business, whether it's more phone calls, more form submissions, stuff like that. We're talking about how, well, first of all, what the heck is SEO? What is pay per click? How do I utilize online marketing to make my web presence better? We had over probably somewhere between 150, 170 videos of content like that that was basically kind of complementing our actual blog at agencypartner.com. In addition to that, I'm really privileged to be able to speak about things that I believe in very, very deeply, such as free speech and definitely big tech policy. And so, in addition to our video blogs, we also had inclusion of a lot of my media spots, dozens and dozens of spots online where I've been on various programs, right, with various show hosts talking about Section 230 and big tech censorship, talking about stuff like that. And so I guess it was just a little bit too truthful for the censors over at YouTube to really handle. The fact of the matter is when you are publishing content to the web, it is not a free space. It is not a free space that it should be. You have a combination of algorithms, and you have users who will maybe not like what you're saying and they'll complain, or competitors who don't like what you're doing and think that you're doing it too well. Maybe they'll complain about you then and try to get you flagged for review. And then every now and then you'll stumble upon an actual human review, not something driven by their AI algorithm that's designed to identify keywords like Trump or censorship or big tech or Section 230. Every now and then you get an actual human
Thanks.
review.
Now I'm going to get canceled. You just said those things. Great.
Yeah,
If you
and God
suddenly
forbid,
don't see this, you know why.
and God forbid you tell some truth about the Wuhan flu or the COVID vaccine or the racist hunter story. God forbid you tell some truth because
You
big
tell.
tech's
Let's
not going
just
to like
talk
that.
truth, and for some people is subjective. So let's just say sharing facts. Just facts that are out there, and letting people draw their own conclusion from those facts instead of telling people what to think, which is what we're teaching in kids, what to think, instead of teaching kids how to think and how to do critical thinking. The Kudos to you though, because Adam Edmund Burke had said, all that is required for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Martin Luther King said to ignore evil is to become an accomplice of it. You know,
Yes,
so the everyday things that we do, uh, still speaking truth and not saying, "Oh, I'm not supposed to say that." Oh, because isn't that
right.
kind of the tendency?
Very
Okay,
much
I've got
so.
to be careful. I don't want to get in Facebook jail again.
That's right. What to ignore evil is to actually be a micro tyrant. You look at those people who are in Hitler's circle, right? Maybe they weren't the ones that were, the top level dictator, but they were the ones that
Wow.
were
Yeah.
enabling his behavior. They were enabling that sort of activity to take place. You see the same thing happening across our country right now on school boards, in city council meetings. You see things that like that taking place where one person is saying something that's kind of terrible, but in the name of diversity, but it's actually totally anti-diverse and anti-free. And people around them kind of drink the Kool-Aid and they become these micro tyrants that enable bad things to happen. So, yeah, you know what? I got censored on YouTube. And part of me thought it was kind of a long time coming just because I know what happens with big tech. And the reality is there are some redundancies out there. There are some other platforms that we can turn to post content, but man, it's not the same though because the visibility is just not quite there. Other platforms I'm talking about. Rumble is a good alternative to YouTube, and you'll notice a lot of libertarians and truth speakers are now posting video content to Rumble because they've already been dealing with YouTube. I mean, even
Yeah.
people like Alan Dershowitz, right? And then some of the more outspoken ones too. And there's probably a collection of names that I could drop. Dinesh D'Souza, right? David Harris Jr., who's part of Black Voices for Trump. and a friend of Candace Owens. He's all over Rumble and doing some great things. And he's actually kind of close to me too. He's here in North Texas, speaking some truth. So yeah, you know what? If you've had a bad experience with YouTube, know that there are other options, and